And to our top story this morning, President Trump continuing to push his Buy American agenda as one of his first acts in office. The commander-in-chief promoting domestic products at Made in America Week to show his support for U.S. companies just last month.
We're here today to celebrate American manufacturing and to showcase the amazing products from all 50 states made in the USA. Remember in the old days, they used to have Made in the USA, Made in America, but Made in the USA. We're going to start doing that again. We're going to put that brand on our product because it means it's the best.
But what if buying American-made products was the law, at least when it came to government spending? Well, that's what a central New York state lawmaker is proposing, requiring government purchases over $10,000 for Erie County to be made in America. Joining us is the man who proposed this law. Erie County Legislator Ted Morton is here. Ted, so first of all, tell us about this Made in America Act.
Sure. Thank you, Sandra, for this opportunity. Basically, I proposed a local law changing our charter in Erie County so that any purchase of a manufactured good greater than $10,000 or any service that we contract with at the county level of $10,000 or larger has to come from an American entity.
Do you fear that the unintended consequences of something like this?
Well, I'm not sure what the unintended consequences could be. I mean, if we do have a stipulation in there that if a product or a service is not made in America, then it will get a waiver. And of course, if the American price is perhaps way out of whack with what we can get someplace else, we will look at that now. But right now, we put out requests for proposals on products and services all the time.
Right, so the fear would be lack of competition to keep prices low, is obviously the fear.
Well, this is my point, that right now, when we put out requests for proposals, not every time the lowest bid is accepted for a lot of different reasons. So I'm concerned that manufacturers in America and Erie County, where we've got a great history of it, that they need that, we need to make sure that they are represented well with our purchases.
All right, I'm going to let Congressman Jason Chaffetz jump in here.
Yeah, Ted, this is Jason Chaffetz. I think the intention's right. I think all Americans would prefer to buy American products, but it seems like you got an awful lot of meat to put on the bones in terms of defining what is made in America. What percentage does that take in order to meet those thresholds? I know California tried to do something similar and excluded products that could even have 90% of goods that are made in America, but if they didn't get that last 10%, that it didn't meet certain thresholds. And how much more are you willing to spend if it's not, quote unquote, made in America?
Well, again, this is the thing that we have in the proposal, an opportunity if the county executive and us, the legislature, feel something is not appropriate, then we can,
but how do you define that? What's not appropriate?
Well, in terms of cost, right now, every major contract that comes through the county has to be approved by the county executive, the administration, and the legislature. So all of them are reviewed anyways, for appropriateness, whether it's cost, quality, things like that, meeting different standards.
No,
so this would be one more.
I just want to bring you in here because obviously this is something you know very well. I mean, talk about your experience with these kind of ideas.
Well, look, I think the overall goal, the intention here is to make sure that the United States of America has the very best products, that they can beat people on price, on quality, that you feel good that you're helping your neighbors and whatnot. That's the goal. And so I would also challenge you to also look at the local regulations that you put in place and all the inhibitors that you put for that local business who wants to try to compete with somebody who's doing it with low labor rates overseas. My guess is that's causing more of a problem in your community than, having the law right to put a preference in there.
Ted?
Well, I will say, living in New York State, where a lot of laws and rules are set in Albany, it's very frustrating with the business climate. But I know in Erie County, where I am, which is part of Buffalo, Buffalo's in Erie County, western New York, we do everything we can to encourage the growth of business. And we have thousands of manufacturers here that put out world-class products all the time. So it is something that This is something to benefit them and benefit everyone. And I'll tell you, I work with the Chamber of Commerce's in my towns. They all stress buy local, help the local community. And of course, since January 20th with President Trump, there has not been a greater cheerleader for Made in America in my lifetime. Yeah. So it is something we want to give local manufacturers an opportunity to sell more of their products to a place like Erie County.
Kristen?
Yeah, I mean, of course, that's a wonderful goal, and I agree with all the sentiments here that we want to see more products made here and bought here. The interesting perspective, though, is that of small business owners who are trying to start their own business. Maybe they're making a product, trying to sell a product, and because they're a small business and they maybe don't have as much capital as a very large organization or manufacturer, they get those goods made overseas at lower prices, right? So if there's a law like this or these kinds of laws expand, then it's negatively going to impact small businesses who don't have the same capital to manufacture products in the United States. So are you hopeful that, this is only really going to work if it expands to a large number of other counties or states? Is that what you're hoping to do here, is get the ball rolling and the snowball effect to happen?
Obviously. The people of Erie County, it should be on a referendum this November, so they will decide. And if it does pass here, it is something, because we're not limiting it just to manufacturers in my county, but across America. I would hope counties all over America would do the same thing.
All right, and Ted, New York State already has a law that requires transportation contracts to use American-made steel and concrete. How did that influence this proposed law?
Well, right, and that was just approved in the last several weeks. So that was something that we were following, myself and my staff, earlier part of this year to see how it would progress. And again, at the state level with that, local towns pushing, buying local, and now again, President Trump, the biggest cheerleader for manufacturing in America, it's just fantastic.
Ted Morton, thank you for joining us.